Greetings, Twin Flame beloved. Hello, it's Dr. Amanda Noel and my little spirit guide over here, Jimmy. Say hi, Jimmy. All right, so let's dive into the 3 things that you'll need to know as a twin flame lover or someone seeking her ultimate beloved for the full moon that's happening tomorrow, October 24th, 2018. So I'm going to give you 3 things. If you haven't checked out the video that we released, I think 2 days ago, it is in the link below. I'll put that there as well. And so that's the broad astrology report. But here are 3 keys that you need to know as a twin flame. So this October 24th full moon at 1 degree in Taurus is conjunct Uranus, and I can barely say that without smiling ever since I was a kid, but Taurus is conjunct Uranus, and that is the main astrological influence on this full moon. So the 3 things that you'll need to know as a twin flame are the surrender stage is going to be up. So if you are single and you are attached to someone you think is your twin flame and things are really intense right now, this would be the time to release, let it go, have no attachment to if and when it comes back, and really do that surrender work. So the surrender stage is the first thing. And if you're in a twin flame union right now and you're happily, engaged in the relationship, or you're working through things together and you're committed, it's still a time to surrender to something greater than what is going on. So I'll talk more about this. In fact, I'll be giving you some of my biggest wisdom about surrendering so that you can enjoy your relationship at this full moon. And the second piece is to, let's scroll down through my notes. So there are a lot of big changes ahead. So to expect big changes ahead. So the sun opposite moon at this time means that this is a time of change, of transformation, and really about diving deeper into the unknown. And this applies to your twin flame union. It really applies to any aspect of your life, even things outside of relationships like business and your wealth, your health. So it's a time of big change, a time of surrender, as I said, and it's now a time to really identify old patterns and to create ones that are in alignment with the surrender and with the changes that are happening. So I'm going to talk mostly about surrendering, because once we can surrender, then we can actually deal with the big changes that are happening. Then we can actually have the clear alignment to look at what's going on in our lives with neutrality. If we're looking at someone and they're not quite treating us the way that we want, and we're really frustrated about this, if we're not in the surrendered place, then we can create all kinds of ego attachments. Unhealthy conversations can happen. We can come from old places of pain and emotions that are just so natural as a human and yet also very destructive to the sacred twin flame union. So I wanted to just say hi. I see those of you in the chat. Thanks for being here. So great to have you and to be connecting with you. Go ahead and leave a comment if you like. You're welcome to chat with each other. And if you're rewatching this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, we just passed the 16,000 subscribers. So thank you so much. And if you want to get our weekly videos, sometimes even 2 or 3 times a week, click that notifications bell so you get that information in your inbox. All right, so the surrender stage. So I love talking about the surrender stage because I was the worst at surrendering. I was so anal retentive about who I thought my twin flame was, and it was very rigid. And this is very typical for people known as starseeds, those here who were born from a higher vibration of consciousness, who came here to the planet to awaken humanity. So starseeds, crystal children, light workers, we can be very rigid. We can be very dogmatic about how the universe is supposed to work, because that's why we're here. We're here to improve it and to, we come with amazing teachings. We have often sacred ancient teachings active in our DNA, this wisdom of the twin flame teachings. It's we know what's up. And we come to Earth and things can be a little bit more organic, a little more flowy, a little bit more raw and real than what we expect. So those dogmas don't necessarily apply. So it's just past 11:11 here as I was saying that. And what happens with this 11:11 thinking is like everything is supposed to align perfectly. It's like, well, yeah, we have 11:11, but we also have 11:12 and 11:13. We have all the numbers. We have all the beauty, but we also have that chaos that comes with it. So this surrender stage, again, with Venus opposite Uranus at this full moon, we are going to undergo some big uncertainty and changes in our relationships. And this is part of coming to Earth, as we actually aren't certain. And with that idea that we can crystallize everything and make it perfect and have the 11:11s align all the time, and the dots and the T's and the dashes, can all be like this perfect gridded thing. Well, here's the thing. Surrendering is going to help you move beyond what is in this like cookie cutter template world. Surrendering is going to allow us to grow beyond limitation, lack, scarcity consciousness. And I know you as a light worker are here to not only, call in your twin flame, to perhaps have a healthy family and have children and give back to the world, or to create your soul purpose as a love leader, to run an organization, to make a difference in the world in some massive way. You're also here to just be a freaking human and love your experience, to enjoy it, to bliss out. And we can't have this without surrender. So one of the first steps to surrendering to love is to enter into the abyss. And the abyss is something that the Kabbalah talks about, the ancient Hebrew tradition that is connected also to alchemy and tarot. And it's one of the systems that we use at Twin Flames International. Surrendering to the abyss is akin to dying, but not dying in the physical form. So this full moon is a time of surrendering and dying, again, not in the physical form, but letting our egos die a little bit, about letting our old patterns that have not been serving us, our viewpoint, old ways of working that led us to the results that we're getting right now. Is to surrender those and say, hey, if I'm not happy with these results, or if the results I'm getting are no longer going to move me forward in the future, because maybe you're happy with your life now, but are you happy with it 10 years from now? Using the framework that's gotten you here, if you keep using it, is it going to provide the future that you want? I know that's not true for me. I know that in order for us to create an intentional community with a retreat center, which is one of our dreams, I can't continue using the framework that I used previously. So now it's a time to surrender and let these old attachments die out. The thing is that the ego, to keep us alive, actually has learned to suffer. The ego has learned to create false identities and healthy and unhealthy attachments. So the way to surrender this and enter into that abyss is to let go and let love, to let go and let love. So I would love to hear what right now in your life you are ready to let go of, that's not really holding you in a vibration of love, but that's creating either suffering or control patterns or a lot of chaos, confusion, a separation consciousness. And again, I always say, a lot of times women are like, well, the guy I'm dating isn't treating me like this. We talk about twin flame love as just a mirror of what's going on inside. So it's not about the guy doing that to you. It's how am I holding on to this pattern? How am I holding on to scarcity or abuse or neglect? Or how am I holding on to some level of dysfunction that's creating that disappointment in my life? So instead of a woman saying, my divine masculine, my twin flame, I surrender him treating me this way. Or you can say, I surrender being treated by anyone And you can say specifically by this person. And I do recommend not to call them your twin flame unless they are really in union with you, because the twin flame word is so sacred and so powerful. And if we use it too soon on someone who's not, it's like if I were to call someone my husband, and we haven't gotten married yet. Ooh, wow, there's a little disconnect there. So if I call someone my twin flame and they have not said yes to that title, they're not showing up and fully committing to me, that's kind of like psychic rape. Oh, my husband, he doesn't know that we're married, but truly the term twin flame could be used in substitution for sacred husband or sacred wife, sacred beloved. It's really the same thing. And marriage is just, the legal version of it. But truly my goal, and hopefully your goal, is if you choose to get legally married, to have the legal union align with the sacred law of feminine love aligned with masculine energy. Feminine love aligned with masculine energy spells FLAME, flame. Okay, I diverted a little bit. So let's see. We're having some great conversations here. So yeah, please go ahead and share what you're releasing that is keeping you stuck. Instead of surrendering, you're stuck in spinning wheels. And now that it's this full moon, this opportunity for big change and transformation and surrendering into the unknown, birthing something new, what is one thing you are ready to surrender? Okay, so another piece of letting go and letting love is really feeling into love, even when you don't know what love is. That does not make sense, because we know we are the Almighty. We are tapped into the Creator. We are that synergy between self and oneness. And so when it comes to twin flame love, and when it comes to connecting with your Creator, it's all about returning to a divine state of love that we have forgotten. Return to the divine state of love that you've forgotten. So this can be done with just postulating that it is in a meditation, just connecting with love. We can have all these stories. Well, I wasn't loved as a child. I grew up in a dysfunctional family, or, I don't know how to love. I keep manifesting these partners that ditch me, or I've been single and celibate my whole life. I'm a virgin. I've heard it all. Or I've dated men and had sex with a million partners and none of them have been loving. I've heard that too. So it's not about what you have experienced in this little teeny blip called a lifetime. It's about returning to this I am state, this oneness, and connecting to source. And it's easy as little children. I've spent a fair amount of time over the last few weeks with little children, because I have a 3-year-old niece that I've been hanging out with her friends and family friends of the 3-year-old age. When we're little ones, we are this bright ball of light, and we come with this universal information. But then we learn from our parents, and in particular, our family members, as well as our community, our friends, and the world itself. And we shut down, and our starlight starts to dim and dim and dim and dim, and we forget. However, that's the thing, is our inner children and our magical love and light, our twin flame energy, is always there. It's just kind of dimmer. It's kind of like feels separate. And so the key here is to reconnect to it, to reawaken that magical child. The hardest thing about that, as I teach in my courses and programs, is our inner child often gets shut down at a time of a trauma. So that's where doing the work of identifying and busting your twin flame love blocks, really working on clearing out that sacred wound that creates toxic patterns. My rice cooker is going off. Jack made me lunch. So exciting. So what's going to happen is we have to do this deep, deep releasing of the past, the childhood stuff. So there is a lot more to this, and that's why we have a year-long program to help women initiate into calling their twin flame that takes this work much deeper. But something you can do just straight away today is start meditating in your heart chakra and feeling divine love, connecting to the whole universe. And that is in the tree of life, I work with the Sephirot. The surrender sort of Sephirot is actually the abyss, or in Kabbalah is called Da'at, D-A''A'-T, Da'at. And Da'at is in the pillar of balance. It's the feminine masculine. It's associated with the color black or even dark red. It's kind of that void. And the element is not lead, it's not gold in the scale of alchemy. It's actually the element of nothing. There's no element associated with the surrender, the Da'at. And the planet associated with Da'at is actually the universe itself, is oneness. So it's not really a planet, and I call it the universe, the womb of creation. It doesn't have a metal associated with it either in alchemy. The operation of alchemy associated with it is the experiment, the container, the substance, and the alchemist. So it's the experiment itself. It's like the whole thing. So at this full moon, we're actually tuning into the macrocosm, the hologram. We become not only the alchemist, we become the operation of the experiment, where we have the container, the substance, and the alchemist in all of that. And with this deep level of alchemy happening at the full moon, we're tuning into the tarot card of the Fool. Now, the Fool is, of course, numbered at 0 because we are entering into the surrender. And it's the number of unlimited potential, and it therefore doesn't have any specific place in the sequence of the tarot cards. It could actually be placed at the beginning of the major arcana or even at the end. And the major arcana is actually considered kind of like the Fool's journey itself through life and through our ascension process, and doesn't really need a number. In fact, if you think about it, 0 has the number aspect, but the true element of 0, the true aspect of 0 is beyond the number, is before the number, is where there is no number. And I'm getting a little esoteric with you, but for those of you who are struggling, like, how do I clear these patterns? How do I reboot my system? Let go of like the digit 0 and just go to nothingness. Let go of the pain and the analysis. The first step at this full moon is to go into that state of pure nothing. And that is a form of love. That is love when we get into that pure void. In the full circle cycle, we go from that feminine love from the blackness, from the Gaian chakra that this Sephirot is connected to, Da'ath, surrender. So we're going from the surrender from the feminine all the way up into the cosmic light. So as we go through these full moons and as we go through this year, I'll be sharing more about the twin flame alchemy formula that we have, the 12. It's actually 12 phases, but it's called the 11 phases of twin flame alchemy because we go from 0 to 11. So 0 plus 11 is 12. So a little bit more about the Fool card. I think it's really important to know about this at the full moon. On the Fool tarot card deck, there's a young man standing on the edge of a cliff. And he's like marching off the edge of a cliff without any worry. And, he's looking up to the heavens. And that's a symbol of really surrendering to the universe. And while there's this kind of whimsical, like, I don't seem to know, there's that unknown, or that almost naivete, there's that knowingness that things are going to be all right. So that's a symbol. That's something that we need to remember as we're surrendering. Even though it's scary at this full moon in Taurus, the big changes that are coming our way for you in your love life, for you in your business, your career, your relationships, your health, your wealth, things are incredibly open at this time. There's also this like, whoa, this is a lot feeling. So look up at the sky, connect to the stars, connect to your heavenly creator, connect to your womb space. It's all a hologram. So the heavens is actually a womb of Mother Goddess. And we're kind of like this seed that's coming into her womb, creating. It's all just a hologram cycle of feminine and masculine. Also on the tarot card of the Fool, we have a backpack. He has like a little backpack knapsack thing, and he's got like everything he needs for his little trip. He has a white rose in his left hand. And so what I like about the knapsack, and then there's also kind of the white rose, is like we've got like the practical things, and it's also very light. It's minimalist. It's like I've got everything I need on my back. So instead of carrying like all this luggage at this time, really think about paring down. And there's a trend of minimalism right now. This is a phenomenal way to heal ourselves and the earth. I've been going minimalist. I had a whole house. You know, we live in Austin. We still have our house there, but we put a lot of stuff into storage, and we actually got rid of a lot of stuff so we could travel for the next, now 3 months, but a 4-month period. And in letting go of a lot of objects, it's 11:30 here. In letting go of a lot of objects, I've released a shitload of energy that did not serve me. So going minimalist is not only like easier, more convenient. We traveled in Guatemala. I had about a week in the tropics. We took a trip and I just had a little day pack, and I didn't even need half the stuff in there. It's like amazing how little we need. So go minimalist at this full moon. And then the white rose, which is kind of, you know, it's in the left hand. So it represents the feminine. It represents the virgin, innocence, the purity. And then there's a small white dog at his feet. I have a little black dog, but I have a white dog in the other room, yin and yang. And this dog, of course, the dog represents protection and loyalty. I mean, don't you feel safe with something like that? And it encourages us to take our step and to move forward while learning the lessons. So the Fool really is about choosing to journey into this unknown state. So bringing it back into these 3 keys that you need to know as a twin flame. We do have big changes ahead. We do need to surrender into them. We need to get ready. It's a time to actually pare down and have less objects in your life and have them be ones that are really powerful. You know, in the past, I think we had a culture of fast food nation, having a lot of stuff, a lot of, you know, as a goddess, I had like 200 crystals, and it's like, do we really need that much to just create a clear space, or is that creating some chaos and all the crystals communicating, and then I have to figure out where that one went. I left it at a ceremony. So perhaps having this symbol of the Fool and really celebrating that we are fools stepping into the world. It's crazy that we're here. We're amazing. We're little babies that come in, and we come into this wisdom. But it's an important thing to always go back to that childhood wisdom, which is another thing the Fool represents. So again, the big changes are coming, and it is time to identify and bust our twin flame love blocks, but not until we do this surrender work first. So spend the next couple of weeks just surrendering, allowing things to move through, letting go of attachment, using the tools that I have suggested, meditating from the heart space, and reconnecting with the universe from your heart, from your womb, from all of your full self, the universe. This full moon will bring you a great deal of strength to rebuild yourself. So take advantage of this incredibly powerful time. And if you're ready to go all the way on your twin flame path, Jack and I, my twin flame and I, we're going to gather together for a complimentary 11/11 ceremony that's coming up in about, I guess, 3 weeks. And we'll be doing it from Bali on California time. So check it out. I'll put the link below. It is free. It's a twin flame global activation on 11/11/18, which is actually 2018 is an 11 year. So it's a super powerful year to come together and gather in ceremony for a content-rich talk. We'll talk about the meanings of the numerology and the impact of the twin flames 11/11 codes. I love talking about 11/11. I've had a lot of synchronicity and a lot of things that I've learned out of experiences with 11/11 that I love to share. You'll get a karma clearing on what no longer serves you. So feel free to just let it come out and then bring it to the 11/11 ceremony. We're going to do that. You'll get a guided meditation to awaken your energy for this shift on 11/11, the year of 11. And you will get a twin flame activation at the end that we're going to channel ourselves to activate the twin flame DNA. And this will help you to awaken your soul purpose, to magnetize your twin flame, or if you're already in the union, to activate. So bring him or her. If you are in the relationship, that would be ideal. And we'll be gifting some cool free stuff and some tips and recipes and perks and bonuses all about twin flame love and 11/11. So register at the link below. It's aphroditeuniversity.org/11-11. And I'll leave that in the description box once I finish this video. Thank you so much for gathering with me today. I'm going to take a look at the live control room. Wow, it's really exciting. It's been really amazing to, watch this channel grow. We've been doing this together for about, I guess, since we met. Jack came onto my channel, but I'm really feeling a big shift upward as we're revving up to conceive our star children in the next year, perhaps sooner. We'll let you know. We'll keep you posted, but right now, we've just really enjoyed going to the Sacred Cacao Farm. You're welcome. If you need to rush off, I'm just gonna share a little personal information about Jack and I, since he's in the other room, and it's fun to gossip with you all about my beloved. No, just kidding. He's cool about it. I won't share anything confidential. But yeah, thank you for loving the doggy in the back, Jamie. Such a sweetie. So yeah, we just got back from Guatemala on the 21st, so like 2 days ago, and we're going to be here in California. We're visiting family. Our stuff is locked up in Austin, and we are kind of doing a little bit of a world tour to see how we want to raise our kids in a really new school, unschooled paradigm. We don't have kids yet in the physical form, but they've been showing up in dream time and in the spirit world and in plant medicine ceremonies. We did some amazing plant medicine ceremonial work in Guatemala. They have just some of the best. 3 things I love about Guatemala. Gosh. 3 spiritual twin flame things I love about Guatemala is there's an ancient Mayan record and memory in the land itself. Even though the people have gone through the ringer and they're trying their best to rebirth some of the knowledge, the codes are still there. And I really felt that. I felt the warmth in people's hearts, and could just see there's still beautiful artwork there. We weren't able to go to the ruins, but we did go to my brother's farmland that he has with his soul brother. My brother has this like really bizarre synchronistic connection to Guatemala. He's a 6'4" white dude that went to the Peace Corps, and all of his best friends were like down to his shoulder. He played on the basketball team, all these like beautiful indigenous men. And he's kind of stayed in connection with that land. He's traveled in different countries, but he basically keeps coming back there. And just through the law of attraction or whatnot, while I was hoping to create a source for my cacao products, I was making raw cacao. My brother's like, I bought this farmland in Guatemala. Good night, Maya. Thanks for those of you staying on. It means a lot that you're here interested in our life. I know you have really interesting lives too, so it's really cool, really touched to be able to kind of just like vlog and share my experience. So we went off to kind of, let's see, first of all, the 3 things I love. So the Mayan magic, I would say. The second is the raw cacao. Not raw cacao. Actually, we got in a big debate, and my brother said, look, the indigenous Mayan did not eat raw cacao. Like, they ate the cacao juice. That would have been raw, just like, apple juice, banana juice, orange juice, banana juice, but, any juice you have, it's going to be raw unless you pasteurize it and process it. But the pods, they absolutely had to toast them lightly over fire, because there were parasites and fungi and things like that. And so I've been like such a big fan of raw cacao, and he's saying like that's first of all, it's still somewhat unknown. Like, does UV really work? And it doesn't give it the rich flavor, and it's not a traditional way. So I got in lots of conversations with him, and I did come to the conclusion that for me, ceremonial grade cacao does mean that you can choose if you want raw or lightly toasted cacao. So I know those of you who are coming to the new moon ceremony, and by the way, I will type the link for those of you who have to go. It's aphroditeuniversity.org/1111. And then when you opt in for the free 1111 ceremony, you should be added to our email list, which will give you access to the new moon ceremonies as well. So the cacao was really amazing. Like, I was eating high vibrational, organic, like I saw where the cacao pods came from. I was at my brother's farm, and it was like, you just pick these cacao pods off the tree. There's something really, really powerful about that as somebody who's eaten a lot of chocolate and not really known like where it's come from. And having that in my family, like, wow, this was really, really cool. And so there was this joy in coming back to this sacred land that I feel intuitively this land is not in my bloodline, but in our past life lineage in our family, which is really interesting. So I look forward to learning more about that. And the third thing I loved about Guatemala is we did some research on like, what are the laws around plant medicine? Is ayahuasca legal? Is, what indigenous plant medicines are legal, illegal? And of course it's like cocaine, that's no. Alcohol, that's fine. Marijuana, at this point, that's no, I believe. I didn't ask about it, but I just assumed. Magic mushrooms, that's okay. There's no laws about it. Ayahuasca, that's okay. Cocaine, that's not okay. So during the time that we were there, I got to connect with a couple of actually medicine shamans that worked with mushrooms, magic mushrooms, and also different kinds of mushrooms that are not that are just medicinal, not psychedelic. And we took a course up at the Fungi Academy and learned about medicine, plant medicine with fungi. And it was just so incredible, so eye-opening. And then if I may share, I had the opportunity to participate, I won't say which plant medicine, but we were able to participate in a plant medicine journey of our own with a substance that completely validated all the things I've been teaching and sharing, but like on a physical level. I don't know if any of you have done plant medicine or what your thoughts are about it, so feel free to share. But the medicine is starting to say it's time to actually teach this wisdom and bring the sacred tradition that has been destroyed by different patriarchal religions trying to hide, and I would say keep the knowledge to themselves. And it's time to reclaim this. And it's just so interesting that like my family happened, my brother and his partner and his daughter Amaya, they're all in this native land where there is an ancient use of magic mushrooms and cacao, not so much ayahuasca, I don't think, but they have these like mushroom statues, and it was part of the religion, it was part of the spiritual path. So I think there's been a lot of grief in me because people don't always understand the beauty of these sacred traditions, and there's a lot of judgment, and there are a lot of deaths that happened, people that weren't willing to conform to the Crusades and to the colonization of the conquistadores there. So anyways, it was really interesting because during the ceremony, our daughter spirit came through and she told us her last name, what she's meant to have. And I guess, when I shared it, there was a big siren that went off. And it's funny because it's like I was at a crystal store a month before asking her what her sacred stone was, and then Amber Alert went off and like all the phones like buzzed and everybody's all freaking out. And then I was like, oh, like, I think her stone is amber. So we found amber stones. And so I asked her name, and like, it actually has something to do with the color red. And there's this like red siren that's like, woo! And we look out the window and we're like, oh shit, is there like a hurricane coming? Because the thunder went really loud. And anyways, I've just been moving through a lot of fear of birthing star children into this world, those that hold the Christ codes, the ancient record memory. We all do, we all have it, but consciously, telepathically communicating with our children before they're born, like that gives them a lot of power. And there is this sacred ancient wisdom within them that they're wanting to bring in. So it's been beautiful facing that fear. And then at the end of the ceremony, it was like, it's totally safe. It's totally fine. It's just a lot of persecution from past lives and old fear-based consciousness. So my body is like super ready to get pregnant and feeling really excited about that. So, thank you so much for sharing. And it's fun seeing the different languages even being spoken. I believe that's either Greek or Russian, probably Russian. That's always fun. Hopefully you're saying good things. It's so great to have this amazing tribe of twin flame lovers and light workers and go-getters who are doing big things on the planet. My message to you is take full responsibility of your light and love and build everything that you came here to do. We are unstoppable. We have the ability to create this queen kingdom on earth, and it starts within ourselves. So I look forward to supporting you and coming together in soul family and connecting more with my beloved. I think it'll be a really powerful activation for us as well. Every year we've done this, it always feels like we end up doing more work together. So I think this year, after this 11/11, Jack and I will start collaborating even more than we've been doing, because we've been kind of like, he does the masculine thing, I do the feminine thing, and it's just so powerful. Our working together is so powerful, can also create some fission as well as fusion. So anyways, I'll see you there on 11/11. Go ahead and click the link in the description box if you haven't already clicked the link that I posted in here. And I hope you have yourself a badass and awesome and beautiful full moon in Taurus. Namaste. Namasko. Bye, everyone.